The number of racing championships wrapped up by the Can-Am Renegade 1000 at the local and national level have proven it to be the fastest 4x4 ATV in the woods. A couple years ago, we put the Renegade 1000 to the test, and needless to say, we came away impressed with its out-of-the-box performance. Riding an ATV in stock condition possessing the level of adjustability of the Can-Am Renegade only gives you a good idea of how much performance is really lurking. Taking the time to set up your controls, tire pressure, and suspension can help you get the most out of your stock ATV without spending any additional money, and can make the difference between a machine that you like or love to ride. Test rider Evan Hartzell has expressed interest in racing the Renegade, so we decided to spend a half day adjusting the machine to see how well we could adapt it to his weight, size, and riding style.
Evan Hartzell here, ATV On Demand test rider. Today we're here with the Can-Am 1000 XXC. We're going to be messing with the suspension, tire pressure, and get this thing set up for cross-country racing. Straight out of the box they come with beadlock wheels, fully adjustable shocks, handguards, everything you really need to perform on a cross-country course. Essentially without spending any money. You just have to be willing to put in the time to set the quad up and test suspension and get it to your liking. First off, we're going to start with the tire pressure. We've got 9 pounds in the rear, 10 pounds in the front. We're not running a run flat system, so we're going to run a little bit higher tire pressure. If you are running run flat, you can get away with running a little bit lower to your liking. We're going to take it through the woods, see how it acts, how it performs, how it hooks up. Then we're going to come back and start tweaking the suspension.
For our first round of testing, we used Evan's hillside grass track. There are some high-speed straights with a number of tight off-camber turns to test handling. Operating in four-wheel drive a majority of the time, as most cross-country racers do, it makes it more difficult to steer with the back end. This further loads the front tires in corners, resulting in Evan noticing some front-end tire roll. Lower tire pressures increase traction, but the increased tire roll and traction proved to be too much as Evan sent himself over the high side. With proper safety equipment in place, both man and machine came away unscathed, and it was time to go back to the garage to make some changes.
So the first thing we noticed on the test ride was the controls weren't in the spot where I wanted them. We initially thought we put them in the right spot on the test, but after riding it today I've noticed that I don't like where they're at. So this is something really easy that you can do in your garage. Just loosen some bolts up and you can twist your bars whichever way you want them, move your levers, your throttle position, and all of that. We took the Renegade out to the test track. It's kind of a grass track slash dirt track. And there's a lot of off-camber corners and turns. We actually noticed we were getting a little too much grip in the tighter sections, tighter corners, and the bike was actually starting to come up on two wheels. So we're going to try to take some of that traction away, and what we did was we added 1 pound of pressure in the rear, bringing us to 10 pounds, and 2 pounds in the front, bringing us to 12 pounds. So we just made some changes on the tire pressure and the bar position. It feels like a completely different bike in the front end. The more comfortable you are with the bars, the better you're going to ride and the better you're going to feel. So that helped out there. And then with the front end, the extra 2 pounds in the front end gave me a little bit more stability in the front end, it felt like, and it wasn't diving down as hard with the extra air in the tires. So now that we got the air pressure right, our bars right, levers where we want them, we're going to start with checking the ride height, and then we're going to get the shocks dialed in, and we're going to head to the woods and start turning clickers and get these shocks right where we want them. So what we did here is we jacked the rear end up, got the tires up off the ground, and we measured from the tire to a fixed point on the quad, which happened to be the fender, pulled a measurement. Then I had Joe here, who's filming. He put on a weighted vest to get the same weight as me. And it's very important you have somebody the same weight as you in full riding gear to make sure you get the right measurement. After that, we pulled off the jack and let the bike down. And then we pulled another measurement from the same exact spot to get our measurement. The manual doesn't tell you how much sag to run. Good rule of thumb is around 30%. So also we went in and we measured our ride height. And we're just sitting about an 1/8 inch higher in the front, 1/8 inch of rake. So now we're at a good starting point. We get our baseline testing. We're gonna go to the cross-country course and start putting this thing through its paces, start adjusting clickers. If we find ourselves adjusting one clicker to the extreme, we'll bring it back in and we'll either adjust our preload springs or our ride height, whatever we've got to do to get the bike handling better and to get the shock even back out.
With ergonomics and tire pressure set, and baseline preload settings dialed in, Evan hit his private cross-country track to test suspension. The race-tuned shocks from the factory provide a firmer ride than most 4x4 ATVs over small bumps. In mid-sized bumps, the factory shock settings do well at taking the edge off hits and keeping the machine composed. Suspension at both ends did equally well at dealing with small G-outs in the trail. When hitting larger G-outs or a few rollers in succession, Evan could find the limits of the suspension travel more often in the rear. This sometimes resulted in the back end kicking up a bit. To help the shocks recover more quickly with his weight and speed, Evan sped up rebound 2 clicks at both ends. 3 clicks of low-speed compression were added to the shocks at both ends to help keep the Renegade riding a bit higher in its travel through G-outs and rollers. This greatly reduced bottoming in rollers and had the machine cornering flatter, allowing Evan to carry more speed out of turns. Still, the back shocks would occasionally bottom in rollers and off of jumps a bit more than we'd like. Adding 1 click of high-speed compression to the rear shocks solved this. With just a little bit of testing, we come up with new suspension settings for Evan that allowed him to ride faster, with less wear and tear on both man and machine. The best settings for you may vary. The only way to know for sure is to get out there and start testing.
We didn't spend any money today setting this Can-Am up. We went out, we set the tire pressure, we set our suspension how we liked it, and we set our ride height, the controls and levers. We highly recommend for you to go out and test your bikes. And if you get lost, you can always refer back to your owner's manual and they'll tell you right where you need to be and you can put it back to stock settings. The way we got it set up right now, I wouldn't hesitate one bit to take it to a local cross-country race and enter it in a race. Get out there, do some testing, and get the most performance out of your stock ATV. Thanks for watching.